What's up, everybody? This is Nick, and I'm going to give you a guide today about how to self-publish a book. I am a self-published author. In 2009, I self-published the book of poetry, As The Moonlight Shines. This is the first edition of As The Moonlight Shines. It's pretty beat up, but I will soon have 50 plus copies of the second edition with brand new cover arts. At the time, I didn't really understand how self-publishing worked, and crowdfunding wasn't really a thing at the time. Part of why I'm doing a second edition of As the Moonlight Shines is because I didn't really understand self-publishing. So maybe I can help you out if you are thinking about self-publishing a book. There are a number of people who know way more about this than I do. However, if you know nothing about this, I believe I can be an authority and a guide to help you through this process. First of all, you're going to want to have money for the book. Second of all, you're going to want to promote your book. And third of all, you're going to want to distribute your book. So first, crowdfunding. There are several crowdfunding platforms you can use. There's Kickstarter, there's Indiegogo, there's Patreon, and there's GoFundMe. GoFundMe is not really designed for self-publishing. It's designed for other things, like medical expenses. Seems to be a big part of what GoFundMe is used for. Patreon is used for creative endeavors, but if you're just self-publishing one book and having one project, it's not really designed for that. It's designed for content that you're putting out every month. So that leaves you with Kickstarter and Indiegogo. Those are your options for the most part. Both Kickstarter and Indiegogo require a funding goal. This is the minimum amount of money you'll need for your project. Your project being self-publishing a book and distributing it and mailing it out to your backers. The difference between Kickstarter and Indiegogo is that with Indiegogo, it's not all or nothing, whereas with Kickstarter, it is all or nothing. What that means is that if you don't raise the amount of money that is your minimum goal, then you don't get any money and you just scrap the project. That's how it works on Kickstarter. On Indiegogo, this rule does not apply. It isn't all or nothing. And someone with an Indiegogo campaign will still collect all of their money even if they didn't raise their minimum goal. There's a problem here. Think about this from the consumer standpoint. I don't trust Indiegogo campaigns because I'm worried that they're just going to take the money and run and not actually deliver. Whereas with Kickstarter, you know they have the money that they need and you don't really have to worry about that. To be perfectly clear, when crowdfunding for a book, you aren't just asking people to give you money out of the kindness of their hearts. You are providing them a product. A successful Kickstarter campaign will have different level tiers. Tier is the amount of money that a backer is pledging and what they expect to get from it. So, for instance, on my Kickstarter, there's a $1 tier to have your name in the acknowledgments, a $10 tier for the ebook, and a $15 tier for the paperback. There's also a $60 tier for having your name in the book, where I edit one of the poems and I put your name in the book. It's a good idea to have large tiers so you can raise more money to print copies of your book and buy ISBNs and distribute your book to your Kickstarter backers and to wherever else you're distributing it. Traditionally, a publishing company will invest in your book. They will pay you and print tons of copies of the book before it actually sells to anybody. When you're crowdfunding for a self-published book, it's your backers who are investing in the book. They are paying you to be able to print the book. They're paying you for the book to exist. You have to print copies of it, you have to buy at least one ISBN, and you have to invest in the future of the book. An ISBN is a 10 or 13-digit number provided by the Library of Congress. Every book on Amazon or Barnes & Noble has an ISBN number. So this means that if you want your book to be on Amazon.com or at Barnes & Noble, you have to purchase an ISBN. An ISBN needs to be purchased for every format that the book is in, even if it's the exact same book and the exact same edition of the book. So in other words, if there's a paperback, you need to buy an ISBN for that paperback. If there's a hardcover, you need to buy an ISBN for that hardcover. And if there's an ebook, you need to buy yet another ISBN for the ebook. So, how do you actually print copies of the book? Well, quite simply, you go through a self-publishing company. The major ones are CreateSpace, Ingram Sparks, and Lulu Press. Lulu kind of pioneered the whole idea of going online and self-publishing a book. They will provide you with an ISBN, by the way, but they're also ridiculously expensive. They take 20% of, well, they add 20% to the printing costs, which is way more expensive than their competition. CreateSpace is owned by Amazon. Ingram Sparks charges a $49 startup fee, but they give you that refund if you print at least 50 copies. I'm using Ingram Sparks, and I'm happy with it so far. Ingram Sparks, Lulu, and CreateSpace, all three of these companies will put the book on Amazon and on BarnesandNoble.com for you. Any other further distribution is kind of in your hands. Finally, I need to talk about promotion. If you're an author, get a Twitter. That's a good way to promote your Kickstarter and a good way to promote your book. You can promote on Facebook, but Facebook is better for just alerting people you already know. I promoted my Kickstarter on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. I don't think anyone actually backed my Kickstarter because of my Instagram post. On Instagram, URLs don't work. If you put a URL in an Instagram post, it doesn't actually link. They have to copy and paste it, and people don't do that. So, that's how you self-publish a book. In retrospect, I could have done a whole video just on how to run a successful Kickstarter campaign. However, instead I chose to cover this broader subject matter. I hope it was informative. Thank you.